Hey guys, my name is Palouse, and I'm super excited to share this breath technique with you that's changed my life and a lot of other people's. Now, I'm going to teach you all this great stuff so you can actually apply it into your life today. Okay, now regardless if we work together or not, it's my gift because I truly believe in this. And I want to teach this breath technique to as many people who are struggling with addiction that's out there. So before we get into the technique, I want to share a little bit about my story. So here we go. So let's go back in time to 2015. So I was living the typical American lifestyle. I had a really good job. My girlfriend, my wife now, she had her own cleaning business. We had the cars, we had the house. And on the outside, it looked like we were successful and happy, but deep down, we kind of masked all that with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And for me, this might resonate with a few guys out there, but I was a high functioning addict. Like what is that? Somebody that had a job but was using all the time. And for me, in my mind, I looked like a drug addict, like somebody that was homeless, shooting up in the alley. That was my picture. And as long as I could keep myself busy and work, that was how I kind of justified my actions in my life. But it finally came up to me. It finally crept up. And so one weekend, we used to have these huge parties. It was massive, and we were partying for like 13 hours straight. And it was 7 in the morning. You know, people are passed out, places trashed, and we're cleaning up, all high and all. And I looked at my wife, and I said, I could do this the rest of my life. And at that exact moment, I just started to weep. I just started to cry. And I had this epiphany. I saw myself like at 60 years old, just doing the same thing without any purpose in life. I'm like, what is the purpose in life? And so I went from this high and low like this, and we made a very important decision. Like, one of the things that I really loved about my wife is that we have a passion for travel. And I've been wanting, like, we both have tried to get out of, our patterns, and we just never had a discipline to do it. And so we made a very important decision right there, and we decided that we were going to leave. And so the next 3 months, we gave away and sold everything we had. I quit my job. She actually gave her business away to one of her employees because she couldn't sell it fast enough. And we bought a used motorcycle on Craigslist, and we headed south to Mexico with the intention of not coming back until we had figured out our shit, our demons. And that journey lasted nearly 4 years and took us all around the world. But nearly 2 years into this, we ended up in Barcelona, Spain. And I had this in my mind, I was like, I'm going to be all right by the time I'm 40. And I wasn't. And things were going downhill fast. And literally my wife leaves me. I was alone in Barcelona, Spain, having this kind of breakdown. And I lost my masculinity. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I didn't have my party identity to fall back on, my friends. And so here I was, really contemplating, suicide. Like, this is it. Like, what the fuck? And so I went through this moment of, what do I do? And I had that little small voice. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but your conscience, it's like, you can do better. And basically, I had this something happened to me, during this time. And I decided to try this one more time, like to try to go through this sobriety. And if you've been an addict before, at least for me, I've gone through this cycle many times. Something happens, you promise yourself and your family and friends that you're going to quit, and you might go for a few days, few weeks or whatever, and then something triggers you and you go back to your same patterns. So I've been through this before, but something was different with this and this time. And so I started distracting myself from all my vices. I started taking cooking classes, Spanish classes. I started working out. I started taking cold showers. I started taking yoga classes, and that's when I was about 2 weeks sober at this time in my life, and it wasn't even the longest. I think the longest I've been was like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but it was about 2 weeks sober, and I'm at this park doing yoga, which I don't do. Okay, like yoga still, I don't do it now. But I was doing it then just to distract me, and it was very uncomfortable. But I was doing this routine. There's about 8 of us there, and this stranger comes up to our group and says, "Do you meditate?" And it's actually kind of funny because I've only done meditation like once or twice. I was in an AA meeting or some other like group, and I just didn't get it. It was just like painfully like, what the hell? And I mean, I have ADHD, I'm an addict, and I can't sit still for more than 2 seconds. So it was kind of funny this guy kind of brought this up. And everybody from my group was kind of shooing this guy away, like, we don't want what you're selling, kind of something like that. And he mentions Wim Hof. Now, for you guys who don't know who Wim Hof is, he's called the Iceman. He's a Dutchman. He's about 62 years old. And he's kind of a big deal. And he's famous for doing things in extreme heat and extreme cold. He used to have like the world record for being in ice for almost like 2.5 hours. He climbed Mount Everest in his underwear and boots. He ran a marathon without water in the Mojave Desert barefoot. Same thing in an Arctic Circle. Just all these crazy things, right? And what was interesting was literally that week, something came up. I started taking cold showers, and something came up on my feed in YouTube. And I watched a 20-minute documentary about Wim Hof. And it was just about how big of a badass he was. Nothing about meditation or breath work. And so this guy says, Wim Hof taught me. And I was the only one who knew who Wim Hof was. And I called him out. I was like, bullshit. And he pulls out his phone and shows me all these pictures of Wim Hof. And I find out that it was actually, he was the first group of people that Wim Hof taught like 17, 20 years ago, like a long, long time ago. And so he starts talking to me about breath work. I've never heard of it. And so he convinces me to do like 40 breaths of this. And I don't know what I was expecting or whatnot. But anyways, I'm the only one doing it. Everybody else is doing their shit. And I'm sitting there and I'm huffing and puffing. And the next thing I know, I'm levitating off the ground about this much. And I couldn't believe it. No, I'm kidding. I hope I got you. No, nothing happened. And what was kind of crazy is one of my friends asked me something. And I turned around and had a conversation with her. It lasted 30 seconds. And when I turned around, the guy was gone. No one saw him leave. I don't remember his name. I barely remember what he looks like. And it was just kind of weird. But it is Barcelona. So we finished our yoga and all that. And on my way home, this experience like popped into my awareness, my memory. And I was just like, something happened here. It wasn't just coincidence. It was just something. There was something. So once I got to my apartment, I went ahead and I did 3 rounds of this, and I tripled every count that he told me to do. And my apartment was dead dark, and I was just doing what he showed me. And I remember like what came next was like total bliss. I blasted off to a different dimension. My eyes were closed. I saw colors. I felt like I was floating. I had tingling sensations in my body, and I was so clear. I wasn't thinking about my past. I wasn't thinking about my future. I wasn't thinking about my ex. I wasn't thinking about anything except the present moment. My intention was healing from my addictions. And the more I did this breath work, the more intuitive I became. I started getting new ideas of how to overcome and how to deal with my addictions. So with daily practice, this technique gave me the self-awareness I needed to overcome my addictions and help me with my trauma. Now, if my story resonates with you, I've created this support group called Alchemize Your Life. If you're ready to take full ownership of your life, conquer your vices, and bolster your willpower, then this is for you. Now, guys, I have witnessed incredible transformation time and time again with my clients. The secret, daily practice and action. All right? They've rewritten their stories. They've transformed their habits, and they've rejuvenated their relationships, all the while reclaiming their power and finding a sense of purpose. Okay, do you feel this? So after I teach you this breath technique, I want you to go ahead and do it. Don't wait until tomorrow or the next week. Do it today. You're not going to regret it, all right? And if it still resonates with you after, consider joining up for Alchemize Your Life. It just might be that catalyst that gets you through your recovering process.